This is a quick tutorial on how to set up labels. This picture here is what I want to achieve with my label setup. So this is screenshot image editor. This is a screen capturing program, free, so it's way better than Windows snipping tool. Um, just copy that to the clipboard so that I've got it for later. But basically, this is what we want to achieve. The start of what the Oki Pro 1050 and 1040, which I'm trying to make this tutorial for, considers the start of the page is the start of the black mark. As the printer is moving down the page, or as the media is feeding into the printer, like in this direction, or actually in this direction. I will just, if it's coming out of the printer, this edge first, the start of the page is the first edge of the black mark that it sees. And so this is the back of the label, and all you see are black marks. And on the front of the label, you see the array of labels, whatever you have decided to set up your labels as. So the black marks here are only the shadows of what they're here. It's not actually, you can't actually see them from the front. It's what the printer has a black mark sensor on the back of it, which this sees. Now, the dimensions of the labels are 60 by 40 millimeters wide, 60 millimeters tall, 5 millimeters in between for this example, and 10 millimeters in between labels. So 10 there, 10 there, but it starts 5 millimeters down. So now the printer actually cannot print within about 5 millimeters of the black mark, which is why we create that 10 millimeter gap there. So anyway, going to set up the labels. So the width of the height of the page is 140 millimeters, and the width of it is 95. So then we're going to create a custom size. And so the width here is 95 millimeters. The page height is 140, and the margins which are there, we'll actually create those as 5. Click the link button here so you don't have to change them all. I'll just change everything at once. Now, it's actually 5 millimeters as per this, but because we want full bleed labels, see that gap there is 5 millimeters, and it's 5 millimeters down from the edge of the label, edge of the page. But because we want we want full bleed labels, we want it to, like as if this red box is our art, we want it to overlap the edge of the labels so that we don't get any blank spaces around the edge of the labels when we print. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back here into this, and instead of saying 5, I'm actually going to say 3. Doesn't matter where you click, by the way. It will change all of them as long as this is linked. And so that will give it 2 millimeters over the edge of the page. Now, hopefully you're working in millimeters like any civilized human being, and if you're working in inches, change it. Points, if you don't know what points are, they are a hangover from many years ago when they used typography, and they used to lay out pages with actual, I don't even know what the words are, but it's basically about 1/3 of a millimeter as a point. So for some reason they always default to points. So switch to millimeters if you're a civilized human, and inches if you're an American, and then just push create. Now we've got the margins around the edge of the page. Now we need some margins down the middle of the page to reflect this. Now I'll just push Control V so that I have this here and I don't have to keep switching back and forth. So this is our reference of what we want to achieve. Now we need 2 margins down the middle of the page and 2 margins across the side of the page, horizontal, so 2 vertical, 2 horizontal. So in view here we go guides, and we're going to create 2 vertical guides, and 2 horizontal guides. Now the vertical guides are 5mm from the edge of the page, which is this 5, plus the 40 will get us to this line, and then we want 2mm bleed. So that would be 45 and 2 is 47. And the same thing from this one, this direction, but we're always counting from the left, so it would be 47. So it actually works out to be 48. You can do the maths on that if you like. Horizontal guides, these are the ones that go across the page. So we're starting here at the top. So 5mm plus 60 is 65, plus 2 is 67. So again, that's coming from the front of the black line, 5mm to get to the edge of the label, another 60mm to get to this edge of the label is 65, plus 2mm of bleed is 67. And then this 10mm gap in between labels. So we would be making it 77. Oops, 77. But we're also backing it off. So actually, because we've already gone 2mm across, that would be 8mm in between, and then we're backing it off another 2mm off that, because we want to be over here, not so far. So that should be 67 plus 6 is 73mm, and that's the distance between those marks. So then we've laid out our margins, and we'll and just push OK. You can change your margins in your page with this as well, and change the color of them. Now these margins and guides will never be printed. They're just in there for the sake of enabling us to move things and snap them. Now when you use your move tool, which is this one here, you move it across and it will automatically snap, but only if you've got snapping enabled. So if you don't have snapping enabled, hit View, Snapping, and Enable Snapping here. You can check those things. You might have to check that. And then you go pull it across. So obviously this is not the sticker that you would be wanting to print, but for the sake of this recording, I'm just going to use this artwork because I just dropped it in. So that way it will print. It's going to print that. Now the actual margin of the sticker is actually going to be something like that. 2mm inside the border of the label. So we're over printing. This is what's called full bleed printing. Now the reason we give it 2mm is there's a little bit of drift within the printer as it prints. It will shift the print left, right, up, down, because no system is perfect. So we want to give it fault tolerance, and that's why we overlay the artwork over the edge of the labels. Now I'm just going to grab that and delete that because I don't actually want that. And now I want to duplicate my labels across the page and down the page. So when we're holding that, we can hold down Control. We're on the Move tool again. Click on the artwork that you want to move. Hold down Control and click Drag, and it will just automatically snap into your next box. Now, if you've got lots of these to do, there is another way of doing it, and I'll just delete that. You just, on the Move tool again, you have to have the Move tool enabled. It won't work if you've got this enabled and you push Enter. It won't do anything. You need to have the Move tool enabled. Click on that, push Enter, and this Move Duplicate box pops up. And you say, I want to duplicate it. So click the Duplicate, and I want to move it 70, 60, what is it, 40, the width of the label is 40 mils, and so horizontally 40, and I've actually done it wrong. Well, actually here it's written here, so 45 is what I want to move it, I think. There you go. And then push OK. Now, obviously, if you had a lot more to do, let's just say you had a lot smaller artwork and you wanted to duplicate lots of these, you could click duplicate. You can say I want to go 20 millimeters horizontally and I want 10 of them, and then you'll produce an array of 10 of them. So that's very useful. Now I'm going to cancel that and cancel my resizing of the label. Control Z to undo. For the sake of this, I'm just going to go click and drag, control drag. So if it's disappearing as you delete, as you drag, if you hold down control and then release control before you've let the label go, it will disappear. The first one will disappear. So you don't want to do that. So click down with your mouse, hold down control with your other hand, drag, release with your mouse, then release control. Now get into the habit of grouping things that you want grouped. So click, control, click, click the original, shift, click the next one, hold down control, push G for group. You see I've created a group over here. And then now this is one object. If I want to get inside that object and change something, I double click it. But I don't want to at the moment. I just want to treat that as one object. And then I can control, now I'm clicked on it. Again with the move tool, I'm clicked on it. I hold down control, I drag, I release my mouse, and I release control. And now we've got the art set up. Now if I want to export it, File, Export, export as PDF. You want PDF for print. 300 dpi is fine. You can create a little bit more. Doesn't really make much difference. I don't think the human eye can see much higher than that. Yeah, and then push export. Export it as whatever you wanted to name it, and then you've created your PDF file. Good luck.